training ground. You asked for it, you get it. Ryu and I will rip your photos into smithereens. Hold on to your headphones. Here comes the pain.
It wasn't as forceful as the usual Matt training ground intro. I think he spoke a bit too much before. We were just discussing about books because I'm coming out with one, and Matt's gonna come out with one in the near future, and we're talking about printing and costs and all that kind of stuff, which is really interesting for people who are into sports photography, and likely probably not interesting at all. But still, it's an important topic you need to talk about if you're ever going to start making your own books and things like that. And yeah, really, it's got nothing to do with training ground, but I know we'll discuss it anyway. So this is training ground. For those who don't know what's going on, our website is called Big Lens Shutter, and we are a website where we teach people how to how to shoot sports photographs better than what they've been doing up until then. And this portion of our programming is that people submit images to us, and we try to, be nice about it and tell them what's good and what's bad. Mostly bad because we only invite bad photos. Because, what's the point of actually critiquing a photo that's very, very good? Because I don't think we need any more encouragement for shitty photos in our lives. So let's start with Brendan Mac. And this is the Matt Cohen's favorite, vignetting.
Well, it's selective color too. Yeah, no. So I don't know. Is he trolling us at this point?
I don't know, but he was wondering like what, because I think one of the guys actually said like, yeah, I like the vignetting thing, but as you pointed out, vignetting is, unless it's vignetting naturally, putting it in post and making it that vignette is cheap, Like it's
Yeah,
like
I mean, it just doesn't.
or something.
This doesn't look good. Like the vignetting thing, I guess, came from wedding photography. Is that right? That's
Yeah,
like
it's like
where
the
I see it.
retro look, for
I don't.
like
But is it even the retro, or is it the um to cover up for sloppy composition and like, oh, there's some things on the edges and I want to minimize those, and so
I think
I
it's
think
quite a bit
that,
of both, huh?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, I get vignetting from shooting wide open with certain lenses, 70 to 200,
but not
and
like this.
no, not like
Like,
this. But when
yeah.
you shoot a blue sky with a 70 to 200 wide open, the corners of it will definitely be darker than the rest of it, and
Mm.
it's not something that I feel like fixing, but it's also not something that I feel like accentuating.
But I guess
So
it's the I don't know, the trend is, like I said, it is a retro look. I think it is like the lomography look or whatever however you want to call it.
yeah, but I just don't see any value in it. Like I understand, it's like skinny jeans or something like that. Like I understand that that's what people are wearing, but I don't appreciate it, you know? So yeah, it doesn't look good. Like objectively, I'm looking at this picture, and so he's got all kinds of problems in this picture. Like this is certainly not one of his better pictures.
No.
The vignetting makes it worse, but what do you have? The light is not on the subject, but it is on the background. And so to me, like if you just kind of, turned your head and looked at this picture, it'd be really difficult to figure out what's going on because the light is on the wave behind him and the clouds and the sky, and then you have the what is this called? Parasailing? Is that what it
I
is?
think so. Yeah,
Kite
yeah.
kiteboarding or no, it's kiteboarding. Um, so there's no light on him, and then you darken the corners. So what you're telling the person who's watching is that the sky and the wave behind him are what you should be looking at because all the rest of it is underexposed to the point of not really being able to see what's going on. So I don't like the exposure on this, and then you add the vignetting in, you add the selective color in,
Yeah.
and it's weird too because the selective color, like, for me, that's never okay. But even if you did like that, like, what are we talking about? It's still all the way underexposed, and it's so you're looking at it and you're like, well, is it a black and white picture, and what did he do here? So it just doesn't make any sense. Like, even if this is what you're going for, I want to show off my Photoshop skills. Does this do that? I really don't think that this is the picture to try and do that on.
I have to, like, I just went to IKEA recently, you know, as you do, because I have something special coming up that I can't really talk about. But anyway, I saw this couple buy this massive, like really, really big, like about, I don't know, like 2 meter by like 1 meter. It's really humongous print of Tour de Fête, you know, the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The Eiffel Tower is red and the rest of the photo is in black and white. So there is a demand for selective coloring, as I can bet. I mean, if there wasn't any demand, like you wouldn't actually see all these like crappy prints all over everywhere you can buy, like these selective things. Like it happens to be like, you know, so usually it's black and white and like whatever, like one portion of the photo is colored. But for instance, like if you, I don't know, I don't want to talk about awards and things like that, but if you have like, you know, World Photographer of the Year or da da da, like all these like really big awards, you will never ever see selective coloring. And one reason is that I feel, and I've heard a lot of photographers probably say the same, it really cheapens the whole image. Um, I don't want to like kind of get into like the whole like the pure photography or not, but if an image is great as it is, you would have to Photoshop just a little bit to make sure the colors are right, make sure the lighting is right, like make sure like things are just kind of just like adjusted in a way that it will further enhance the photo, but not alter it completely, so it's a complete different photograph. As Matt was, you know, implying to about the not about but saying about this photo, is that it's it was probably underexposed, huh? All of it, especially the guy. And then Brendan thought that like, oh, I'm gonna use it to like, you know, fix the picture there and blah 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 and all these things and like, look, now I've got a dark, you know, water, inky water, and then the guy is, you know, in bright colors and everything, and he's doing this. And to me, it's just, you know, it's like it's a Photoshop work. It's design or illustration. It kind of falls under that and not photography. And you don't want to really get into the habit of like start using Photoshop as the way to show to I don't know, to make your photo from average to good. From good to great, I think it's fine. But like I said, it's an adjustment like saturation, curves, you know, things like that, or maybe slightly sharpen it if you really have to. But you can't make, I don't know, like because if you even if I just like take this entire picture and just like see it, let's say it's full color, obviously, I would, like Matt said, this is really one of his average stuff, huh? Brendan is really good photographer, and I don't want him to like start, you know, doing these things and saying, okay, I'm so bored of what I've actually been doing, I'm gonna start, you know, fidgeting with Photoshop, and I'm just gonna call it that. And that's never gonna actually make you a better photographer. You always
No,
have
and
to
it's
start
really,
challenging yourself, you know?
it's also not going to make the picture better. And I was just thinking about this. The the clearest way that I can say it is that you will never make an average picture good with post processing.
Yeah.
What you can do is make an average picture into something that somebody would stop and look at. But what their takeaway is going to be is what we're talking about. That's an average picture, and I stopped to look at it because of some Photoshop trickery. And for me, when I see, like, if I didn't already know that Brendan was a really good photographer already, I would think he,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
focusing on the wrong thing.
yeah.
Like, he's not good enough at photography, and he's good enough at Photoshop. Like, I couldn't even do this. I'm not even good at Photoshop.
Well, you're not really
I
good at
couldn't.
anything, Matt Cohen, but you know,
Right, but I'm particularly not good at Photoshop, so I couldn't do this.
yeah.
But the fact that he is good enough at photography and then is doing this in Photoshop, it doesn't work for me. So I would like to see, just spend more time thinking about what you want to do to make interesting pictures, and less time trying to make average pictures look what you think might be better, but it's not really better.
So let that be known. We've decided that this picture is basically it's a no all around. That probably looks like this, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go back. We can kind of like get into a debate of what sports is and what sports isn't, but let's just say chess is. To me, I think Jackie's probably listening, but like, chess is basically the same thing as darts and golf to me. So, if you're gonna call golf sports, and this is gonna be sports as well. Now, to me, it's very boring. It's just a really boring photo. I mean, there's so many ways you can probably shoot chess, and this is probably the most boring way to shoot it. And especially from a guy like Mikhail, who is a very, very good photographer, this is a no-no. I know they're both serious, they have a serious look to their face, the people around them laughing and things like that, but I don't really feel the intensity. Like, I like to see like in the eye, or just like the finger and the piece, the chess pieces or something like that. This seems like a very, very normal, mundane picture, like everyday life. It's not like, it doesn't feel like a really important tournament or anything. It's just like, two dudes, doing, I think it's like a small tournament somewhere in Russia, and that's it. And
So yeah, Mikhail can make some interesting pictures, and what I would say is what I would say to a lot of people who make boring pictures from time to time or all the time, is if any random person were given a point and shoot camera, what would they get walking around whatever it is you're shooting? And I mean, anybody with an iPhone walking around would be hard pressed to make any other photo than this. Just an amateur with a camera phone walks into a chess competition or whatever and just starts walking around taking pictures. This is more or less what it's going to look like.
yeah,
Um, there's not really any kind of care that goes on to make something that's visually impressive. Chess, you're working with something that's, they're not going to be sweating, they're not going to be, taxing themselves physically or whatever. The fans aren't going to be wasted and wearing soccer scarves or something like that. But, that just makes it more difficult for you to get an interesting picture. So what do? Well, I don't know. Get closer to the pieces that aren't on the board anymore, and maybe not worry so much about their faces, and show that this is a game that's gone pretty deep into it, and they both lost a lot of players. Um, Shoot from over top, get a ladder or something like that and shoot down on it, or show the patterns. Like, there's obviously other people playing, so shoot the length of the table and show. But what you're doing is trying to get it all in. Like, you're too far away for a wide angle lens, and there's nothing that's out of focus. So it's kind of like a mishmash of what you would get with a camera phone. So you need to be adding more than just some generic person walking through with a camera phone could do. And this is a camera phone amateur picture.
it's not very, very good. So we shall move on. This.
Why are you doing it this way?
Because it's easier to do it this way.
Yeah, but some of them aren't in here, and some of them are just tagged.
Well, I can do it that way, but I just kind of think it's easier to do it this way.
No.
Because not all of them are tagged. That's the other problem. See? For some reason, we can't do it. Listen. It will have to go.
All right.
There you go. It's good. I like this one a lot, actually, this picture. Yeah, to make it short, it's for those of you who are shooting a lot of motorsports, yeah, these are the type of moments you do want. It's very difficult, huh? That I don't know, I'm assuming that he probably finished the race and he's waving to the crowd, and there's a lot of dirt everywhere, and you can see that he's been, a bit muddy and everything, and you can see, it's very rare, huh, to be able to actually see the rider's face in full, or the driver, I guess in this.
Which side of the, wait, hold on. Which
What?
side of the road do they drive on in Russia?
Probably right. Left is all the English ones, so English, England, Australia, Japan,
I think this guy might be a passenger.
So who's the navigator, no? If it's rally,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the guys who's actually riding. But
yeah,
just want to say like it's really, really good. And Mikhail really just I will definitely give it to him on this one that he was ready, he was there and he got it. And it's great. I think it's a really, really good photo,
Yeah, I agree. I would have cropped it down a little bit from the top and
it's fine. I like the whole
right.
dirt and everything as well.
No, it's yeah. I would leave some of the dirt in, but not all of it because you don't need all of it.
It's good. I like the whole like that big dirt flying around and things like that.
I like the picture. Some of that dirt should be in there, but it's in between a tight shot and a wide shot, and I think at that point what you're trying to do is maximize the subject and let the dirt be incidental to it.
I think it's a matter of like USA and Russia relations. That's what I think. Really, I think it's a really good shot. So,
right. Well, if it had been Putin in there, then we'd be talking about something else.
Yes. No, he's right behind it. He's like riding with this fucking horse. Very bad.
With no shirt on.
There's no shirt on. Yeah. He likes that. Huh? And fighting a bear at the same time. Guys, is really bad, huh? I don't understand why you can't do this. Can you show the page at all, Matt? And can you just like cycle through them instead of me doing it? The Flickr seems to be very slow for me on this one,
I don't know.
Go to the Flickr group page and see this stuff. Yeah, it's really slow. Let's see if I can actually do it that way. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. It's a problem with Germany with the internet connection. It just kind of happens to be like this.
Well, it's also a problem with Flickr.
It seems like it, because I don't understand why we can't. That's fine. Sorry, I'm not doing this to make you suffer. All right. Is it? Okay. All right, next. Okay, Malcolm, let's make it quick. Go. We need to start cutting things down.
Yeah. So this is a throwaway. This
is
absolute throwaway. Yes, they hit each other, but no, it's not. It's not interesting. This kind of thing goes on in roller derby. So wait for a better shot. Even if you take away the bad background, which is really bad, it's still not interesting enough, even if it was just a plain white background. So you need to wait for an impact where you can see somebody's face, where it's, they're parallel to the ground or something like that. But this is just a disaster. This is not interesting, bad background, cut off the feet, not good. So you need to wait until you get a collision that's more visually appealing than this. This is just two people bumping into each other and at a bad angle for you.
I like this a lot, man. This shouldn't be here. As Reed is, he's actually gotten a lot better since he started a couple months ago. He's got.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that his bad pictures are bad because he's too far away almost every time, and this is what happens when you get a lot closer. So yeah, this doesn't need to be here.
Yeah. And it's really good. The intensity of the eyes and everything. And I don't want to have to like start telling you guys like what's good and what's bad. And that's also a bit of a thing as well, you know. So, and this is another read stuff as well. If I can.
Why don't you? Can you open them in different tabs or something?
No, it doesn't do it. Can I do it? Maybe.
Ugh.
There you go. How's that? Can you see?
Yeah. So it's underexposed.
What a noise! No, it seems like it's like a much smaller photo, and you cropped it a lot.
Yeah.
Is that? It's not in focus either, right? Is it the guy in the back seems to be more in focus?
Yeah. Well, if
like
you look
here.
at the turf is in focus well behind them.
So it must be here the focus, right? The hands of that dude on the left.
No, if look at the ground, look at the turf. Look at where the turf is in focus. It's behind them.
So it must be like it's not in the front, right? It's not where the head is. It's it's behind that.
Yeah, behind. Yeah. So it's throwaway, and when you have to let white be white, and obviously the sun is overhead, but that's how it goes. Sports are played during the day. A lot of times they're played at midday. You have to not worry about blowing out the whites if people are wearing white uniforms and the sun's right overhead. That's just how it goes. You want to be able to see their faces. Like that's what you should be exposing for. And the faces are in the shadow. So if you take away the fact that it's out of focus and too far away and cropped or whatever, you still need to expose properly.
But I don't really understand, like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, this is, they are doing athletic things. It just seems like if you had been to the right of this or whatever, it would have been a better picture. If they had been, if number 15 had been between you and the guy in the white, then it would have been better, but having them side by side, it doesn't work quite as well. You'll figure that stuff out, but you definitely need to get the exposure right now and focus. And if you are shooting with a lens that's too short, don't try to crop more than you really can.
I just kind of think that, like, if you're going to be shooting in this lighting condition, what Matt said is right. But what I would have done is that I would just underexpose it to a point that you can only see the portion of the pitch, the field, and the players where the sun is hitting. So everything else is really dark or really black, and then you see lighting. So it's like not selective color, but selective lighting that you can naturally do with a camera and make it more interesting. That'd be much more dramatic to have something like that. And a lot of people are so concerned about getting the light right so that everything is fully exposed. And why don't you just think of like another way? And it's like I'm just gonna like expose to the sun, well, expose to the part that's lit, and just ignore the ones under shadow, so it'll be pitch black, and like try something like that. Like it's just it's very frustrating to just like see things and everyone's trying to do exactly the same thing and you're failing miserably. And why don't you just go the other way around and see what else you can actually do with the condition you have?
Yeah, you do have to use. You are using light to make your pictures. That's the definition of it. But I think that he didn't really have enough to work with there.
No. It's two, by the way. There's one and there's two. It's a marathon. The situation is really, really interesting because I don't think there's that many that you get to run right next to an airplane. I saw this and I thought, wow, it is actually very difficult to come up with a really good idea of doing this because you want to show the airplane and you want to show the people running by it. And I think it doesn't work in this situation because the lines that are actually drawn on the ground doesn't really go. The people seem to be way too small, and I think there could have been a way to do this by not concentrating too much on getting the entire airplane, but partially getting it,
Yeah.
And that should have been the case. And I understand why you want to do it this way because you do want the airplane there because there's an airplane, and it really is really cool that there's a marathon going on with the airplane right next to it. But it doesn't work, and it's a shame because
Yeah,
it's a wonderful situation, you know. It's a
yeah.
great situation.
No, that's exactly it. I would say think about it like this. This is a picture of a plane with that happens to have some people running by it. What
Mm,
you want is a picture of people running with
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
that's it.
plane in it. And so what would I do? I would stand under the plane and use the wing because it's obviously an airplane. It's no less of a weird sight to see people running under the wing of an airplane where it's just a wing. I mean, with the engine there and the wing, you know what it is. So the solution to these is almost always get closer to what you're shooting. There are definitely times where you want to be far away to get the context or whatever, and I'm guessing that that's what John was trying to do here. But by fitting it all in, you've lost you've lost anything that you could have imprinted on this picture. So what do you have? Honestly, it's a camera phone picture, right? It's just this is what happened, not this is what I saw or this is what it made me think of or here's a cool angle that I came up with or something. So I would have been underneath the plane.
And I think you could just like use the wide angle shot to then be in besides the people and then shoot the plane so you can actually get the people in it, and in the background you can actually see the airplane. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
he
there's
could
so
have
many
been
different
like
ways you
near
can do
he
it.
could have been near the front landing gear and used the landing gear to be the left edge of the picture and the wing to be the right edge. There would have been plenty of people running through there. So something you need to do something more interesting with situations like that.
And for some reason that photo is not showing. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Good God. Slow down. Down. Okay. Oh, it's the vanishing point picture.
Yeah,
This is that portion to the right is so distracting to me that I love the lines too. You know, you have to see the shadows. It's like a mesh. You know, it's so great, and that ruined it. That whole thing to the right, the green. No, you don't want that. You really, really don't want that. So you need to compose it in a way that that is not going to be seen at all. So I don't know. I think you have to be at a higher angle and actually have to. You know, I really don't like to like do those really weird framing thing that it's all twisted and everything. But that's probably the only way I thought about actually doing this. Or yeah, in be right under behind everybody else and shoot vertically and see if you can actually just get the tarmac and the people because it's honestly the mountain everything is something that you'll probably see every single day, but tarmac and that lot that all those people running at the same time in that open space is not something you're gonna get to see every day. So yeah, I think it's really poor execution in both of them.
yeah.
You have to like
He
really
was.
visualize these things and do these things in your head before you start shooting. You know?
Yeah, I like the fact that he at least made an effort to do like I like this one better than the one with the
Yeah, I
plane in
do. I
it.
do.
But you know what? I have a little I don't know. I guess it's like a step stool. It's got three steps on it, and when you're on the top step, you're maybe 2.5 feet off the ground or 3 feet off the ground or something like that. And I take it to I use it for drag racing so that you can get some of the stuff in the background out of it. So if you're 3 feet up and shooting at a down angle, there's a lot of things that you can get out of the background that would be in the background otherwise. Plus, you get the added benefit of having an overhead shot. Something like that would have helped here. If you had been a few feet higher and
Mm.
shot down, you could have gotten that background out of the way. Um,
There's so many different ways to do it. You know, like I could just like
Yeah,
sit like
but
on the
even if
side
you
again.
don't, even if you don't have extra equipment, you still need to think about, okay, so I have my subject in here, but are there things in this frame that I don't want in there? And then what can I use? Can I use the other runners? Can I use the plane itself? Can I use a different, can I lay down? And what can I use to get the things that I don't want in the picture out of the picture? Like you're not going to be able to crop this just because of the way it's at a diagonal, but you need to figure out a way to get the less interesting things out of the picture.
Okay. I've got no problem with this. Did I invite this? Did you invite this?
I didn't invite it. No.
Did I invite this?
I
No,
don't know.
there's no problem with this. I'm gonna not do anything.
Yeah.
It's standard stuff. Okay, I don't why are we even here? I'm not gonna talk about it because it's okay. There's nothing
Yeah.
really big wrong with it. All right, it's coming. I like this one. I do. I think it's really Mike's done some really boring stuff in the past, and he has done a lot of boring stuff. And he's kind of getting to the point he's actually doing something interesting. And I really like this one a lot. And it's not very. I don't see this kind of stuff all the time either. Rain.
Yeah.
And he's gotten actually quite. I think he's quite close, isn't he? He's not very far. Huh?
No, it's pretty close.
Yeah, and then like the fact that he didn't stop motion, actually kind of let it go. So I think he's panning a bit, I guess. And things that should be in focus are in focus, and I love the water that's coming out. I don't like the background that much, so if I can really nitpick, then I can say like, well, I wish it was a bit lower. So, but saying that, then he will like lose the driver maybe in that case. But I love to have actually seen it a bit more.
Well, he could have been higher too, just like the same thing with John's picture a minute ago. If you were a couple feet higher and shooting down, then you could have gotten rid of some of that background. But yeah, this is better.
It's really good.
I don't know. Does the nose being cut off bother you at all?
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. But you're in the right path, Mike. I think you're starting to realize like what's interesting, what's not interesting, and you're trying to be very creative about it, about things. And it's a bit of trial and error, but I think you're succeeding. I think it's really, really good, except for that part, that nose part. So this is using light very, 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 very well. But Matt Cohen was wrong with this particular picture.
Yeah, it's just not the right moment. So
I don't think it's even in focus.
Well, it's not, but that's not even, that's not the most, like, you're already sacrificing clarity and whatever for the lens flare. But the thing is that you can see this, right? It's good. You can see like the thought process that went into it. I'm definitely going to try something different. I'm going to, use my gear in a way that exposes the absolute weakest part of it, lens flare. That's good, but you still have to wait for something interesting to happen.
It's a shitty moment, huh?
Yeah, this is not in any way interesting at all. It's too far away. There's not, if there had been definition between, like if it had been two players fighting over a ball and there was some symmetry or something like that, and you could see that, the two players and then the gap in between them, that would be one thing. But this is just like kind of a scrum of people going up for a header, and it ends up not being interesting at all. If you can see the girl in the middle and the way the light is rimming the ponytail and the top of her head, that's what you want, but it just needs to be a more interesting moment. Like you can see it, you can expose for it, you can have the right gear on or whatever, but there still has to be something interesting going on. And even if they were stretching, it doesn't have to be during the game or whatever. They could have just been stretching. It could have been a line of girls doing the same stretch or something like that, and that would have been interesting. But this is like, it's game action. Yeah, they're going up for a header, but it's just a mishmash. It's not. There's nothing to grab you here.
And you'll have more of these things. The other photos that will kind of describe like what Matt has described, like good lights and good atmosphere, but for bad photos, really good photos. And that. This one is a throwaway because it's nothing interesting.
This is where I wish we had, people defending why they made or kept the picture, because there's nothing redeeming about this at all. Like it's.
You know why? Because he's digging deep. And that's what it's supposed to be. But I have to read it. and then see it and say, I don't
That
think you're
wouldn't.
digging deep at all.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my caption for this.
No. And then it's just not a good
Black and
photo.
white. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit shit, huh? So what's this? Um, I think I invited this because I think it's a bit of. I'm gonna convert it to black and white because if it's in color, it's not gonna be very interesting, and that's exactly it. It's exactly. I mean, it's not like it's very evident. Like I've seen like worse black and white conversions in a way that like it's just a very boring moment, and I turn it into black and white just to make it into an interesting thing, and like yeah, it does make it interesting, but is it really that interesting? No. Hardly.
No. I don't
And
even like that tape. Is that tape
yeah,
down at the bottom?
yeah.
So that's definitely hurting you. This, if the light had been different, like say the light had been coming in at an angle that separated the guy on the bike from the trees in the background, then you may have had something, even though this isn't an especially good angle. But he
Yeah.
bleeds all the way
It
into
does.
the trees.
That black is almost.
The light just needs to be better for something like this. Like you can't have your subject fading into the background most of the time, and this is definitely one of those times where you can't.
And I think it's like if you want to use a tape that way, then you have to like use it in a better way. Like if you can actually even get lower. I mean, like Matt said, if you can actually get a separation between, if you can do it black and white, that you get the rider against the sky, then you get separation that way, you know? And if you're gonna bleed and you have to bleed it, the entire thing, and you have like spots, for instance, if he's riding a white bike and he's got white stripes on his jersey that you can actually see evidently and everything else is black, that'd be interesting, but it's just half-assed in every possible way. And it's shit. So that's kind of how it is, huh? So you're gonna have to work better on these things. It's the black and white convergence doesn't really work all the time, and it won't save you from having a really crappy picture. So I'm sorry. Read, and then it's loading. It's loading. It's loading. What's wrong with this? Alright, can everyone see this? I'm going to do it here. This is Reed's photo, as you can see. I'm marking it here. It's an interesting moment, but it doesn't really that exciting. And like, it's one of those things that shutter speed is also kind of half-assed in a way that it's not completely stopping the action. It's not really blurring either. And I don't think it really adds the whole thing. I just kind of find it really quite irritating when people do this. That it's not really blurry and it's not really, in focus. So like, it stops the action. And the action itself, yeah, that's interesting. You can probably get at this moment, but I don't know. It would have been like if he had actually scored or if the goalkeeper was making a save. I mean, I don't really mind these kind of moments in football, but at the same time, like I'm just gonna think that's quite mundane, normal thing to do. But I think he was trying to make it so that it would be a bit more special than a normal one. But
no, and you know what? He's again too far away with not a long enough lens.
He's on the other side of the pitch.
Yeah, Reed, the best advice that I can give you right now is there's just going to be some pictures that you need to pass up until you can, use any kind of longer lens than this. And until then, you're going to be restricted to shooting things that are much closer to you. Again, we've been talking about this for like a few weeks now. It's not enough to crop because the depth of field is going to be off and the resolution is going to be off at that point. There are just some things where you have to be either very close to it with a shorter lens or the same distance with a longer lens. And this is too far away to be doing what you're trying to do with the lens that you have here.
It's not in focus. Like, why would you even put this? It's not. Nothing is in focus. I don't think anything is in focus.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, 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 horrible shot. Sorry, there's nothing.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's fundamental. You have to get what you're shooting, the main part of the picture, which is the ball here. You have to get it in focus, and it's going to be distracting, and people are going to say, "Well, why isn't this in focus? Why did he want me to see this? It's not in focus. It's a throwaway. Use it to learn, then move on."
trying, I'm trying. That's not filming again either. Oh dear. Okay. It's looking a bit weird still. So, Conduit, it's a free funk. Good abstract or a mess? It's a mess. Um, because I did an entire match, last match, I did all um, multiple exposure, multiple exposure, and slow shutter speed. And I kind of remind myself that how difficult slow shutter speed is, and how interesting things will look if it's done right. If it's done badly like this, it's just terrible. It's just a mess. I understand you wanted to do it, but you have to have things that are in focus. And let's see if I can actually get it big. If this is anywhere in focus, it's not coming up, so it probably won't be. But from what I can see, it is not in focus. Nothing is in focus. Maybe like the one over here, his feet. But even that, it's just not good enough for me to like say, okay, you know what? This is actually you've done a good job of doing blur, and you can do a very good job of doing blur. So I'm really sorry. It's really, really bad. But at least he actually knew it was going to be a mess. All right, this. No, it's not going to either. All right, this. All right, Michael Wood. It's cars. You like cars. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I really just don't understand. So the car is kind of
Pockets.
going sideways,
Yes,
and
pockets. So.
yeah, and that's we're supposed to be impressed, but what do we have? Well, the flag in the front isn't helping. The guy standing in the back, the tripod in the back, and those things, the reflectors on the guardrails. So you're screwing yourself even if that car was going vertical or something like that, you know.
It's a shitty moment.
You need more. You're shooting pictures of cars. You need more. It doesn't matter that the tires aren't pointed the same way as the rest of the car. It doesn't matter that there's stickers on it or that it's an older Audi or whatever. None of that matters. It's not an interesting picture because you didn't do anything. This is a classic example of somebody could be standing there with an iPhone and get exactly this picture. You added absolutely nothing whatsoever to this scene.
Is something wrong with Flickr today? Seems like it, huh? It should be on
Something
and
wrong
off.
with it every day.
Oh, come on. Come on now. Oh no, there's too many. Fucking hell. Alright, can't see this, so I'm gonna do that. Oh, yes. Alright, Daniel Harris, NCA Division 3, blah, blah, blah. Okay. First of all, it's too far. Second of all, it's not interesting. I don't know, the moment actually itself is probably not that bad. Second, it's the background is way too much in focus. It's a mess. And think about it, the moment, is it too bad? It's not that interesting because it's just a touchdown or whatever. It's a catch, and it's that classic. I've got a moment that the guy's in deer and catching the ball. I get so excited to take a picture, and I go, oh, it's almost fully in focus, and I love it. I show it to my friends, like, oh, look, I got this. Like, he just caught the ball, and I got his photo. And all your friends saying, oh, it's so great, it's awesome. How did you do that? Oh, it's no big deal. Like, I got this thing. It's kind of like that. It's a terrible photo, actually. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's
Too far. It's just too far away with too short a lens, and the place where you're shooting has a bad background. So you need to figure out how to minimize that. A lot of it is shoot from the end zone rather than the sideline because then you're just going to have the field in the background, and everything else is going to be further and further away. But
it's a forward, this one,
yeah.
All right.
Don't get caught up by the person doing something, athletic in the picture. if the picture isn't good by itself. Like, yeah, this probably was a pretty good catch, but
The photos
you
are
didn't
not
get
right
a good
on.
enough picture of it for it to matter, and so all you're doing is saying this guy made a great catch, but what do you have? A
But I
security
think
guard and some people watching in the background and a fence.
if you're gonna have something that's happening on the other side of the pitch or the field or whatever, and if you want to get that moment, I would then go all full wide. So you get a lot of things that's actually going on. Maybe the stand, well, there's no stand there, but maybe the house in the background was like, maybe it's like, a lot of houses with a lot of lights, maybe people watching from there, things like that. Don't get too caught up. Really, I keep on saying this all the time. I just burped. I just keep on saying this all the time. Like, it's not a matter of getting the action is the most important thing about sports photography. It's for you to make the action interesting, or the moment interesting, and to compose it beautifully and make it into a beautiful thing. Don't get it wrong, like, you're not there to take action. You're there to take sports and the essence of sports and essence of what makes sports a beautiful thing. And it's all there's. People get it so caught up in action and don't just forget about everything else. And it's travesty, really. It's horrible. That. Did he just kick it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I feel like he just kicked a goal kick for me. Like, I don't really feel anything about this picture at all.
No, I like this picture.
Yeah, because
I like the grass coming up. I like that the tee's knocked over. I like that you can see where he's looking, and he's pretty high off the ground for a kicker. So I'm totally fine with this
it's
picture.
pretty high for a white boy type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just not too crazy about this. Sorry, it's not like I don't know. I don't really find it really interesting. But you can see his face, you can see his eyes, and voila. And Matt likes it. So, and Matt loves American football as much as he loves baseball. Okay. What's looking going on? I like this one better than the other one, but there is a bit of a problem in that, to me, it's not a particularly very interesting moment. Because these things happen a lot all the time. I don't really mind the feet being cut off, and we
No.
always
I
talk about it, but huh?
no, I like this picture. I no problems with this one either.
Matt's being very lenient today, so that should be.
This is like where he's used the light, like he's shot in a way that the background is going to be dark, the subject's going to be lit. Um, that's yeah. This wasn't the best picture, and maybe it would have been better with a little bit different timing. More sweat coming off the guy's head, or a better expression, or something like that. But he's put himself into a position to get good pictures, and this is dramatic just because of the lighting.
Mm,
And I'm fine with this. Like, if you keep doing this, you'll end up with good pictures.
I'm okay with this one. I'm not being a hater. I'm not really. Jackie Gould. No. I just kind of think that you're cropping it because you want to really emphasize the fact that there are five. I couldn't even count this now. Five helmets on the field lined up. I would love to have actually seen this, five helmets on the ground, and the two teams doing something interesting in the background. I mean, I think they're just coin toss, something going on, though. It's like right before they start the game, right? Or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you can get, like, Matt always says about these things, like, if you can get this close, I mean, you have to just wait for the great moment to happen in the
Well,
background.
I think the great moment probably already happened because they the team they walk out, so they walk from the sideline. A lot of times they'll be holding hands. That's the
Against the,
picture. So if you get this in the foreground and then the five guys whose helmets these are walking out, then you have a picture. This
it's
not
it's, it's,
you know
it's, yeah,
not
it's a
much of a
shame,
picture.
because it's a it's a good moment. Like I'm saying moment in a way like there's that five, five things, five helmets on the field, and yeah,
Yeah, in that you don't ordinarily see that. That's fine, but you need more to it than just the helmets and the ball. You need the people whose helmets they are, and I'm almost positive that they walked out along that line that's right in the middle of it's probably the 50-yard line.
if the guy, like one guy's like coming back towards him, like laying the helmet next year, like one guy actually just left the helmet there or something, like I'm sure there's something that happened, and yeah, it might just be like a missed opportunity you had, and then you just decide to like take the role of helmets, and that's it. More. What's going on? Matt Cohen, is this something that happens all the time? This pushing and shoving of people, of these big people?
This is a new sport. This is where they play football on a hillside.
No, you can't do it this way. I mean, it doesn't the slanty thing doesn't add anything to it, and I know
So
you
you
want
can
something
you
different,
can
but
shoot battles along the line of the scrimmage. That's no problem at all. Like a lot of faces are made, and guys with muscles and tattoos and whatever. But what you have here is you're too far away to show any of that. So you just have a bunch of people running into a bunch of other people, and it ends up looking like a rugby scrum or something like that. Like it's not. These are individual and team battles that are going on, and the you need to get in there and show their faces and expose, for their faces, and you need much tighter action than this.
so and the you can't twist your camera like that and think it's going to be interesting. It's not. It's just really distracting, and it's not good at all. And these people shoving and pushing each other, and also it's very far because I don't think you're very close at all. Most the most interesting things that you can shoot usually is that when the subject is very very close to you, and things that are very very far, unless like they're lined up and you can kind of see like a pattern of the white helmet and the blue helmet in one line. It looks really cool, but it's not the case. It's just you know dudes just pushing each other, and it's not good. Not good. It's shit really. Oh god. Let's see. I think I invited this one because I just kind of wanted to really bit nitpick because I think everything is fine except for that dude in the background. Because I think he just ruined. I covered it with my finger, and I thought, well, is it gonna work if I covered it with finger? And it actually works a lot better because you can see the concentration on the dude on the with the red hat. His eyes. He's waiting for the ball to be put in for the scrum. And the dude in the background just ruins it for me completely because my eyes get taken off every single time I go and try to look at the guy in the red, and I just look at the guy in the behind. That's scrawny white kid in the background with red hair. It's just not the ginger. Really just doesn't work. Anything else?
No, I don't even think the guy on the left. I don't think he's helping. I think it would have been better if the guy in the background hadn't been there and had been cropped down onto just the scrum.
Or maybe it's just a shit picture.
Yeah, it's like it's something that you can learn from. Look for if that guy's going to do this every time or whatever, then you want to make a better version of it.
Especially like the fact that he's wearing red, it would have been shown up really well. Like if you're just shooting this, like just
Yeah.
this, it would have been really, really good because you have the intense look. Maybe he could be really smack in the middle, and you can see that he's looking at something. It would have been good. You don't really need a ball for that. Does it have to be here? It's fine. No, this picture.
Yeah, the lighting is good. It does seem to be late.
Yeah, but is it really that bad? I don't think it's that bad at all. This one.
Uh, no, but I mean, this Jimmy's at a
Fucked it up.
fairly high level.
Just leave. I
If
just want to tell you that my wife fucked up the dessert for tomorrow. I fucked up completely. Okay, she fucked it up. Oh, go ahead.
I just think that it's late. I think that, if he had been looking at, if there was a way that you could, if he was looking at the yard, like the first down marker or something like that,
Mm.
then that would be one thing. But all he's just doing is looking down the field, like, oh, I missed the touchdown by 4 yards or something like that. It seems to me this picture was as he was coming down, getting tackled, and it's late, but he did use the light well. He did compose well. I'm glad that he left the touchdown pylon in there. Um, but again, it's late. I don't really think there's any argument to that. It's late.
I like this one, so Matt can shove it. After you leave, and sometimes no, I really do. I just like the look, and I like the bar, the shadow of the face mask on his eyes, and I like the texture of his arm and everything, and I really do like it. It's I don't know what happened just there. He could have been sadder, he could have been happier. I don't know, but I like everything about the whole thing. It's the best picture in the world. It's really not, because I don't think the moment particularly itself is very interesting, but I love the shadows and I love the texture of the arm and everything. That really worked for me very, very well. So, sorry, I like that one. I don't love it. I like it. All right. Good God. Really? No, like So, tell me why. In in what world you have this access and this is your best picture? Like all the mud and everything going everywhere. I mean, the dudes are carrying their bike. That's actually quite exciting on a bike race because I think it's like a what is it called? Not triathlon. What is it called? It's a tricycle. No, it's not that. Cyclocross. That's it. And I can see it actually. Sorry, I didn't read it. It's such an interesting thing, and you have all the elements and all that kind of stuff, and this is what you get. It's preposterous. Like it really is that you're not thinking and you're just really honestly concentrating only on getting everything in. Also a problem, action problem, and this is selecting an element in a particular sport or particular moment and say I'm going to shoot that. Especially, everyone else is doing exactly the same thing. I mean, you could have I don't know how many moments, like what, 20 riders at the same time? You could just take in 20 shots. You could have done much better things, much more adventurous things. You're that close. I don't understand. I don't really
I'm flabbergasted that they're actually getting off of, they're on their bike, then they're getting off of their bike and jumping over these boards or whatever, and then they're getting back on their bike, and this is where he chose to be.
Why? That's crazy. Sorry. Um, so we were talking about Matt was talking about the lens flare football picture of the four girls, nice lighting and everything, but shady moments. Same. And I understand now. I understand better because there's a splash where the guy is being tackled right there, as you can see maybe. But if I didn't notice it until now, that means it's not obvious and therefore it's not very, very good. Had this been, you can see the elements, you can see the snow and everything, and the only shot you can see is the guy tackling. The only thing you can see is the guy tackling, and the water splashing from his ass because of the force of the tackle. That would have been great because you could. That's exactly what you've been going for. Is what is the water thing that's coming out from his ass, but it's too wide, and just because it's snowing doesn't automatically make it into a good picture. It's that difficult for people to understand that elements or just the atmosphere think it like whatever I can shoot, it's gonna be a great picture. You know what I mean? Like it's really weird how people think about it. Like I don't really understand. Like it's such a great moment in terms of actually the tackle and everything in the water, and then this is it. And he thinks it's actually a passable thing.
No, this is a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible, Tom Beery. Oh, there's too many of them. That's it. I'm gonna skip down. There's also about 3. As requested, boring and boring. Okay. Oh my god, like this one. Not this one, the other one. Hi, Michael. You like football. The other one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like the arm in front of his face, and I don't like the that white sign in the background. Like it's for pictures like this to be even worth looking at, they need to be executed 100%. And there's just it's such a mess. Like it's lighter in the background than it is on the players, and the ball, the ball is like partially obscured, but you can still see it, and I don't know. It's a mess. It's like it's just what this picture screams is not carefully composed, not carefully thought about. Just I'm sitting here looking through the lens, pushing a button.
Yeah. It's also a free kick, so you could actually done a lot more different things, and you didn't really do it, so that's a no-no. You can't do this. Alright. I'll let you do this one as well, because I'm sure you got something to say about this. Go ahead.
What the fuck is this?
I think it's an advertise. It's more like an advertisement than anything else. No, that's what I thought when I first looked at it. It's like, okay, so you're shooting for brand loyalty,
Ugh.
and you decided to like add these effects, and that's it. So I thought, well, for advertisement, I think it's really good, but to see it as like an image, it's not.
Ugh.
So if you don't really understand why this is a bad photo, I don't know what else to really say about it. Let me have a look at what's going on with this.
It's just, I mean, even like, okay, so I'm squinting or whatever to try and get rid of those cube things that are going on. It's just a boring picture from, too high of an angle, and you can't see his face, you can't see the muscle definition, you can't see how hard he's working. It wasn't good to start out with. It was boring, and they may have wanted something that was boring, so that it would not take away from the rest of the ad or whatever it was. But that's their business. Like, once I sell a picture to one of my clients, for the most part, they can do whatever they want with it. And yes, I've sold pictures that weren't my favorite because they wanted to do something specific with them, and that picture worked better than the better pictures. But that doesn't mean that I didn't stop trying, or that doesn't mean that I stopped trying to make better pictures. I did. I wanted to make better pictures so that they would be impossible to ignore and people would buy them because of that. And by, if I was the photographer and I made this picture, I wouldn't have put it up. And if somebody wanted to buy it to use in an ad and, stylize it with these effects or whatever, fine, take the money, but this isn't showing that you're a good photographer. This is a disaster, and the
It's
people that
Photoshop
design this are
work.
just not good, just really not good.
It's Photoshop work more than anything else, and you can't really get used to that either. No? So I mean, we can actually
Um,
see if he's done anything else. If it's nice like that. Ooh, okay, bad stuff. All right, no more bad stuff. More bad stuff. All right.